And it was this ongoing struggle back and forth between, am I really supposed to be here? And this is a fluke. You all ever been there before too? It's like, this is just by happenstances happen. And nothing was going wrong in my job. I was doing really great in my job. I love my job. I got enough compliments in my job, but I was still scared knowing whether or not I was doing the right thing. Raise your hand if you've ever been in that situation before. Things are going well, but you're just scared. It's like, is the ground going to come from underneath me before? That's where I was. And so frequently I kept saying, God, I need you to give me a sign. Help me know this is where I should be at. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? We all want some kind of affirmation saying you're going in the right direction. I want that. Raise your hand if you've ever been there before too. I wanted that. And so I remember I was driving up the road one day and a little pebble hit me on my hand. I was like saying, God, this is where I should be at. And it's like a little pebble hit me. I feel like God was saying, Tyrone, shut up. That's what I want you to go and do. But I was scared. I was like, no, this can't be it. I can't believe I've gotten to where I really want to be at. You know, I even shared this story as a devotion with my job. A couple weeks later, I was giving devotion at work, and I was telling them this story about how, you know, God hit me with a pebble saying, I just need to trust God more. Well, I remember one of the nurses facility even said, I need to hear that, Tyrone. And even though I said that, I was still too scared to trust that God had actually done this. It was May, so me and Andrea's husband and wife appreciation day is May 13th. That's more colloquially known as our anniversary, when we became the Johnsons. And for the very first time ever, in our entire illustrious history of being married, we finally had the opportunity to go on vacation for our honeymoon, or for our dating. We went to Florida. Man, we had a great trip. We got there late. We were supposed to come down there on Thursday, but one of our students had graduated, so we wanted to see him. And unbeknownst to me, Montgomery traffic is terrible. I don't know if y'all ever see Montgomery, but that traffic is terrible. It went from like, you'll be there in 20 minutes, you'll be there in like 2 hours, to 3 hours, to 5 hours. And all we did was pull over, go to the bathroom, and it pushed us back to 5 hours. So we got to Florida late, and so we were like, you know what, we gotta spend every dollar we have. We don't need to save money, because we budget for this, and we don't want to waste any money. So me and Andre like, we'll just buy whatever we want to. I remember that my bank card didn't work for a second when we got there. Like, Mr. Johnson, looks like you spent so much money here. Is this you? It's like, I'm on vacation, give me my money. Right, I remember Andre bought over, we had this little vacation hat, and I remember her like, I was so angry. You all don't see the angry side of me very often, but there's an anger side of me. Specifically like when I had to go fight for my own money, and Andre put my hat back, and I was like, sorry, I'm on vacation. Alright, I thought that was cute and funny. Y'all don't have to. Anyways, I remember all those things, and we came back home that Monday, and I went back to work. That was a terrible decision. I drove 10 hours and then went to work the next day. I'm not in my 20s anymore. That's not a good idea to drive 10 hours and go to work the next day. But that's beside the point. It was that Tuesday that I want to talk about. It was May 22nd. As many of you all know, my adopted dad, he had dementia and he died. But this time he was still alive, but he was just really sick. And my mom, she had fallen, she had sprained her ankle. And so I had driven up there and said, Mom, they asked for breakfast. I said, sure, I'm on my way. And then I told her, wait here. I wanted to get food and I'll come back to you. I want to go to work, I'll come back to you. And I leave off rushing to get to where I'm going off to. And again, I've just been thinking, guys, this is where I should be at? Am I doing the right thing? Show me a sign, guys, show me a sign. And I was driving, I took this turn, taking this turn thousands of times. Thousands of times. This one particular day it was raining, and my truck caught water, and I hydroplaned, I bounced into a car, and then knocked into a cattle truck. And I almost died. Actually, when I got to the doctors, they're like, we don't know how you're still alive. Like, the bone came out my leg. When Andrea and my mom went to the record to go and get my stuff, the record said, I'm so sorry for your loss. Is that what happened, Andrea? They thought I died because it was that awful. And I remember being home, finally coming back home. I don't remember much being in the hospital. I remember coming back home and the incredible amount of pain that I was in. It was astronomical. And I remember being so angry at God. I said, God, why did you keep me alive? Look at this pain. And then I kind of realized, I kept saying, God, show me a sign, show me this where I need to be at, because I'm scared to go and do this. And first it was a pebble, and next thing is a femur. Sometimes we're scared to go and do what God wants us to go and do because we want signs. Sometimes just take a pebble hitting your hand, not almost died, being a sign from God. Sometimes we're also scared, and we just need to go and dig in and trusting in God when everything goes bad. I don't know if you all, I talked about this a lot, but last year was a very hard year for me and Andrea. The year started off with Andrea's cousin dying. She was 30. She died of a blood clot. And then a couple months later, our niece was born. Our sister-in-law, as you all may have known, had ovarian cancer. God healed her. Bought our niece. Our niece is now 9 months old and thriving. But our niece was born. And then a week after that, my dad died. And then my uncle died. And then our sister, she had a miscarriage. And then my cousin had a miscarriage. And then when my childhood friends died. It was an awful year. And it was one thing like lose one person. Maybe 2 people, but not 5.
No.
Losing 5 people was hard. And then at the end of the year, me and Andrea, we both lost our jobs. We were in this place and saying, God, I trust you. We're in ministry, we want to serve you. And then it's like, why would you let this happen to me, God? If any of you ever been there before, like, God, why would you let this ever happen to me? Raise your hand if you've ever felt that way before. Because I was scared. I've seen how God showed up in my life several times. But I was scared. I think it's understandable too, because bills happen, right? No, not one of our bill collectors cared that we lost our jobs. So they go, that sucks. I need your money, or we're going to take your car, or your apartment, or whatever. It's scary when we go through those things. But here's again what we have to go and do when we're scared. It doesn't mean freak out. It means we need to trust God more. So the devil will be so quick to go and tell you it's all over with. God's not going to show up. It's easy for us to believe that lie. Raise your hand if you've ever been there before too. It's easy to believe the lie that God's not going to show up. But we have to remember what that scripture says. When I'm scared, God, I trust you more. See, so frequently we'll go through life, we'll go through situations, and because things are going our way, we think God no longer cares about us. We think that God has abandoned us. We think that God's not going to show up anymore. And sometimes we want to leave God because we're mad at Him. I was mad at God. I don't mean like the little, like, oh, God, I'm angry at you. No, I mean like for a month, I was driving home. And I was like, God, you tell me you have good plans. Where are your good plans at? God, you tell me you're going to provide for me. Where are you providing at? Because I was scared. I didn't know if God was going to show up again. It's easy, like when we're going through life and you go through a hard time and you start doubting if God's going to show up. We're humans. We live in a world where things are scary. I wanted to go and think of a better way of explaining scariness by like talking about a movie, but my life has been scary before. Who knows that reality can be scarier than fiction? But we have to remember that God has always been faithful in our lives. Raise your hand if you've ever seen God be faithful in your life before.
Yeah.
So I love roller coasters, right? Andrea, not so much. I was talking to one of my coworkers, and she was somehow she's getting married, and she said, well, I got the ring on now. And I was telling her, you know what? My wife went through the same thing, but me and Andrea, we were dating. Andrea hates roller coasters, despises roller coasters. And I remember we were getting on the Goliath. As you all know, Andrea's sweet and happy and kind all the time. But when she got on the roller coaster, her alternate personality came out. Her alter ego was called India. And India goes from this very kind, very outspoken, nice person to the, leave me alone, I don't want to talk. I was like, who's this, right? But she gets on the roller coaster with me, and we get in the very back. Who knows riding on the back is the best part of the roller coaster, right? Because why? Because you get the whiplash of it. No. All right, and so we're on the back of the roller coaster, and the person in front of us saying, don't you hate roller coasters? Andrea said this. She says, I hate them, but I love him though.
Amen, bro.
Right? Or she got on that roller. Then once we got married, she said, I'm not getting on that again. See, but you know where I like roller coasters? It makes me feel alive. I like the adrenaline rush of it. It's like, woo! And sometimes in life, we have to do the same thing when things get scary. Why do we like roller coasters? We like roller coasters So you know no matter about the adrenaline, you're not going to fall out. There's a harness over you. You might get seasick, or you might get motion sickness. The older I get, more likely I get motion sickness. But you know nothing bad's going to happen to you. God gives us that promise. God gives us the promise that He will never leave us nor forsake us. He will never abandon us. So when He goes through scary situations, that means that we need to go trust God more and know that He has a harness over us. We need to know that God's going to be there to provide for you. He's fighting for you. He's protecting you. I want to share this last story. Because this one is the one that hurts. This is the one that was scary for us.
Got that faith in the Lord.
I made mention of this just a little bit ago, but you know, our sister, she was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. If you all don't know this, stage 4 means you're going to the door. This is not a comeback situation. And she has a son. His name is Ezekiel. You all may have met him once. He came here, and I make fun of him because he stayed up all night long till like 8 in the morning. We told him that we leave for church at 9. He's 14, right? Well, at this time, we weren't sure what we were going to do about him. Like doctors saying, she's not going to make it. What are you going to do next? And it's really easy that time again to give up. It's really easy to throw in the towel and say, all right, God, you know we're going to show up in this situation. But instead, we prayed. And we trusted God. And we prayed some more. And some more.
Amen.
And now, like I said, my little niece is here. Sometimes when we go through situations, what we have to go and do is instead of freak out, we need to pray more. And sometimes, like, well, me and Pastor, I've been praying forever, and nothing's changed. You haven't seen anything change. That doesn't change what God's doing. That doesn't also change like how He's helping you stay in contact with God. There are times when me and Andre, we don't get along, right? I love my wife. Well, there's times when she really frustrates me. And just because she's frustrating me, it doesn't mean I go and call and make sure she's okay. It doesn't mean that I don't want to text her to see if she's alright. I'm going to be angry when I do it, I'm still going to do it. Because we have a connection with one another, right? And it has to be the same way we have to have a connection with God. You can be mad at God, you can be angry at God, you can be scared with God, but it doesn't mean you stop talking to God. When you're going through a hard situation, that's when you need to go and dig that much more further into your relationship with God. You get a bad phone call and say, oh no, time is over with. It's God help me. It's not, I have a big bill I'm going to pay. It's like, what am I going to do next? It's like, God help me. See, so frequently, we want to be our own saviors. What do I mean by that? Because I have this problem, we have problems, and we want to just go and jump and fix it on our own. We don't want to give it to God. We say we want to, but we don't. I used this as an example a long time ago, but maybe you weren't here. So my phone weighs 2 pounds, maybe. All right, if I hold it like this for 20 seconds, this doesn't hurt very often, right? If I hold it like this, a minute, my arms are going to start hurting. And you know what God says? He says, you don't need to do that. Just give me your phone. Put it down. This is your problem. Put it down, and I'm going to leave it here. But you know what? I have a phone addiction. I have a hard time not being on my phone. Right? Like, I'm constantly always trying to pick my phone up. And we have a problem addiction. We thrive on wanting to deal with our problems. We thrive on wanting to only not give it to God. We thrive on wanting to continually try hard on our problem. And instead of that, God tells us something very simple. Give me your problem and trust me. Hebrews chapter 11, that's where I want to end at. Paul tells us that we should come boldly to the Lord's throne room. Not timidly, not as I don't know if God doesn't care about me, not that I want to go and be a bother to God, but Paul tells us that you should come boldly to God's throne room and let Him know what your problems are. And then when you let Him know your problem, leave it with Him. Don't continuously go, oh, hey God, here's my problem, and look, I'm impatient. I'll be the first person to say this. I'm impatient. I do not like waiting. Matter of fact, I went to the store yesterday. I was going to buy some wrist straps for the gym. And I went to Academy over in Hickson. I asked the guy, do you have any wrist straps? And he was like, well, what are wrist straps? Like, I want this. And he was scanning. And I was like, that's not, and he tried to tell me the wrong thing. That's not what I'm looking for. And I got so impatient. I was like, never mind, I don't care. I'm just going to leave. That's how impatient I am, right? Like, I don't like waiting. And sometimes we don't like waiting for God. You know the reason why you're nervous, the reason why you're scared, the reason why you're going through all these things? It's because you are scared and you don't have patience for God to work it out. And we all know this. Raise your hand if you know this. Most of our fear comes because we can't wait for God to show up. And today, what my word of encouragement to you is that give God your problem. He goes through a problem. Yes, we're all scared. We all have problems. No one has an easy life. But when that problem comes, you need to go give that problem to God and leave it with Him. Nothing's going to change you stay up all night trying to stress about it. That's only going to make your health worse. Nothing's going to get any better by consistently going back to the problem. That just makes it worse. But we have to go and just say, God, here's my problem. I'm not saying this is easy, because I struggle with this. But when we have problems, we just need to say, God, I want to trust you that much more. I saw another meme on Instagram. I want to close with this. And it talks about how I want you to grow in your faith. We will all inevitably go through big situations, big problems, things that seem impossible coming through. And this meme said that when I get to heaven, I want God to smile at me and say, man, you kept me busy. Because my faith is that big. See, when you go through bad times, you need to go take it to God. You need to trust that God's going to work it out. God healed my sister. God paid our bills. I squatted 500 pounds on Thursday. God will work things out.
Amen.
So I want to encourage you, if you're going through a hard time, to give that problem to God. Trust God that He's going to work it out. Trust that God's going to give you the strength to work it out. Instead of freaking out, that's what the devil wants you to do. Instead of worrying about it, give it to God. What'd your neighbor say? Give it to God.
Give it to God.
All right, I want to ask you all to bow your eyes with me real quick, because I want to pray with you. Maybe you might be here today and you're falling into this situation. You are facing this incredible, scary situation. And it's too heavy for you. You're burdened, you're worried, you're stressed out. And you say, God, I want to give you my problem. I want you to raise your hand if that's you.
I'm going to prayer request this year.
Maybe you also might be here today and God's put you in a situation that you can't believe you're in. It's just too good to be true. And you don't think you can go and do this job. You don't think you can live up to what's happened to you. And you're saying, God, I just need you to help me trust you a little bit more. So let's you raise your hand too. All right, and then finally, maybe you might be here in this situation where all hope seems lost. All hope seems lost. There's nothing left. And you're ready to throw in the towel. If you're here today and saying, God, help me trust you just a little bit more. Help me increase my faith and trust in you just a little bit more. I want you to raise your hand with me as well. All right, I want you all to pray with me. God, today we just want to come to you. Sometimes reality is scarier than fiction. And God, today we just come to you and lifting up our very scary situations to you. God, for each person who's here today, I just pray that you will strengthen them, strengthen their faith in you, help them to trust you more. Help them to not give into the lies of the enemy that you don't care about us. Pray, God, that you'll meet needs physically, mentally, spiritually. Pray, God, that you'll strengthen our hearts in knowing that you are here with us always. Amen.